round 3 of the Friday Night Retro number 3, held before the Mega Evolution 6K at Full Grip Games. If you didn't catch rounds 1 and 2, head on over there before getting into this video. On the left we have Noah, piloting Greninja. Noah's game plan is to lock down abilities using Greninja's Shadow Stitch attack, all the while spreading damage around the board with the Giant Water Shuriken ability. On the right we have Colin, piloting Mega Rayquaza. Colin's game plan is to flood the board with Pokemon using Skyfield and replenishing his hand with Shaman EX's setup ability to churn through his deck and set up Mega Rayquaza to take big KOs with Emerald Break. A quick note, as wonderful as my new camera setup is, the frame is a bit tighter on the board, which makes it more difficult to see the player's opening hands. This isn't a terrible trade-off for the quality of footage, however I wasn't able to actually get a list of the cards in the player's opening hands. Colin wins the flip and starts us off. Colin draws for turn and plays Pokemon Fan Club, searching his deck for 2 basic Pokemon, revealing a Hoopa EX and Rayquaza EX, benching both, and using Scoundrel Ring to search his deck for 3 EX Pokemon, putting them into his hand. He finds Mega Rayquaza EX, Rayquaza EX, and Shaman EX. He benches Rayquaza EX, attaching a Metal Energy to it. He evolves into Mega Rayquaza EX through the Delta Evolution Ancient trait, ending his turn. Noah draws for turn and attaches a Water Energy to Talonflame. He plays Dive Ball, searching his deck for a water Pokemon, revealing and benching Froakie. He attaches a Choice Band to Talonflame and plays N, with both players shuffling their hands into their deck and drawing 6 cards. He plays another Dive Ball, searching his deck and finding and benching another Froakie. He attacks with Aero Blitz, dealing 70 damage thanks to Choice Band, and searching his deck for 2 cards, putting them into his hand. Colin draws for turn and attaches a Rayquaza Spirit Link to the Rayquaza EX. He evolves Rayquaza into Mega Rayquaza EX, not ending his turn thanks to the Spirit Link. He plays Ultra Ball, discarding Sudowoodo and Versus Seeker, searching his deck for a Pokemon, finding Shaman EX, and putting it into his hand. He plays Skyfield, increasing his maximum bench size to 8 Pokemon. He plays Shaman EX, using the setup ability to draw 5 cards. He attaches a Double Colorless Energy to Mega Rayquaza EX. He benches another Shaman EX, drawing 2 cards. He benches Tapu Lele GX, searching his deck for a supporter, finding Skyla. He plays Skyla, finding a Floatstone, and attaching it to his active Tapu Lele GX, retreating into Mega Rayquaza, and using Emerald Break, dealing 180 damage, taking the knockout, and drawing a prize card. Noah promotes Froakie and draws for turn. He evolves his active Froakie into Frogadier. He plays Dive Ball, searching his deck and revealing and benching another Froakie. He plays Ace Trainer, with both players shuffling their hands into their deck, with Colin drawing 2 and Noah drawing 6. He attacks with Frogadier's Water Duplicates, searching his deck and benching 2 Frogadier. Colin draws for turn and benches Magearna EX. He attaches a Metal Energy to Mega Rayquaza. He attacks with Emerald Break, taking the knockout and drawing a prize card. Splash Energy triggers on Frogadier, returning it to Noah's hand. Noah promotes Frogadier and draws for turn. He evolves Frogadier into Greninja, and his benched Froakie into Frogadier. He benches another Froakie, and attaches a Choice Band to his active Greninja. He plays Professor Sycamore, discarding his hand and drawing a fresh 7 cards. He attaches a Water Energy to Greninja, and plays Ultra Ball, discarding 2 cards, searching his deck, and revealing a Greninja, evolving his benched Frogadier. Noah attacks with Shadow Stitch, dealing 70 damage thanks to Choice Band, locking Colin out of all abilities until his next turn. Colin draws for turn and attacks with Emerald Break, taking the knockout and drawing a prize card. Noah promotes Greninja and draws for turn. He evolves Frogadier into Greninja and plays Super Rod, shuffling Frogadier, Greninja, and a Water Energy back into his deck. He attaches a Water Energy to Greninja and attacks with Shadow Stitch, dealing 40 damage and locking Colin out of all abilities until his next turn. Colin draws for turn and attacks with Emerald Break, taking the knockout and drawing a prize card. Noah promotes Greninja and draws for turn. He attaches a Water Energy to Greninja and plays N, with both players shuffling their hands into their deck, with Noah drawing 6 and Colin drawing 2. He attacks with Moonlight Slash, returning a Water Energy to his hand, dealing 80 damage. Colin draws for turn and plays Ultra Ball, discarding 2 cards, searching his deck for a Pokemon, finding Shaman. He benches Shaman EX, using its setup ability, drawing 6 cards. He attacks with Emerald Break, taking the knockout and drawing a prize card. Noah promotes Froakie and draws for turn. He attaches a Water Energy to Froakie. He plays N, with both players shuffling their hands into their deck, with Noah drawing 6 and Colin drawing 1. He attacks with Bubble, flipping heads, and that's when Colin reminds him of the Magearna EX in play, preventing all effective attacks done to Pokemon with Metal Energy attached to them, and Noah concedes the game. That was a quick one. Noah was able to string together multiple Greninja, however, each was quickly knocked out by Colin's aggressive start, allowing him to take all 6 prizes with a single Mega Rayquaza EX. Wow, Noah got absolutely obliterated there. He should try not prizing all 3 Greninja break, so let's get to round 4. On the left, we have Colin, piloting Mega Rayquaza. Colin's game plan is to flood the board with Pokemon using Skyfield and replenishing his hand with Shaman EX's setup ability to churn through his deck and set up Mega Rayquaza to take big KOs with Emerald Break. On the right, we have Michael, piloting DrampaGarb. Michael's game plan is to shut down abilities using Garbodor's Garbotoxin ability and swing in for lots of damage with DrampaGX's Berserk attack. Michael wins the flip and starts us off. Michael draws for turn and plays Ultra Ball, discarding 2 cards, searching his deck for a Pokemon, finding and revealing a Tapu Lele, benching it, and using the Wonder Tag ability to search up a Bridget into his hand. He plays Bridget, searching his deck for 3 basic Pokemon, revealing 2 Trubbish and a DrampaGX, putting them onto his bench. He attaches a Choice Band to Drampa and passes the turn. Colin draws for turn and benches Hoopa EX, using the Scoundrel Ring ability, searching his deck for 3 EX Pokemon, revealing 2 Rayquaza EX and a Magearna EX, benching all 3. He attaches a Rayquaza Spirit Link to Rayquaza and evolves into Mega Rayquaza EX thanks to the Delta Evolution Ancient trait, not ending his turn thanks to the Spirit Link. He attaches a Rayquaza Spirit Link to Rayquaza. He plays Professor Sycamore, discarding his hand and drawing 7 cards. He attaches a Metal Energy to Rayquaza and chips the turn. Michael draws for turn and attaches a Float Stone to Trubbish. He plays N, with both players shuffling their hands into their deck and drawing 6 cards. He plays Ultra Ball, discarding 2 cards, searching his deck, and revealing Garbodor, evolving his bench Trubbish. He passes to Colin. Colin draws and sends it over to Michael. Michael draws and attaches a double colorless to Tapu Lele GX. He attacks with Energy Drive, dealing 40 damage. Colin draws and ends his turn. Michael draws and plays Lysander, bringing up Mega Rayquaza and using Energy Drive, dealing 60 damage. Colin draws for turn, evolves his benched Rayquaza into Mega Rayquaza EX, and passes back. Michael draws for turn and uses Energy Drive, dealing 60 more damage. Colin draws and ships the turn for a 3rd time. Michael draws and uses Energy Drive, dealing 60 more damage to Rayquaza. Colin draws and plays Skyfield, increasing the maximum bench size to 8. He plays Versus Seeker, returning N to his hand. He plays Shaman EX. He plays N, with both players shuffling their hands into their deck and drawing 6 cards. Colin ends his turn. Michael draws and evolves his bench Trubbish into Garbodor. He attaches a double colorless energy to DrampaGX. He uses Tapu Lele's Energy Drive attack, taking the knockout and drawing 2 prize cards. Colin promotes Pseudo-Budo and draws for turn. He passes to Michael. Michael draws and attaches a Psychic Energy to Drampa. He attaches a Choice Band to Tapu Lele. He plays Versus Seeker, returning to his hand and playing Lysander, bringing up Mega Rayquaza. He attacks with Energy Drive, dealing 70 damage thanks to Choice Band. Colin draws and passes back to Michael. Michael draws and attaches a Rainbow Energy to Garbodor, putting a damage counter on it. He retreats Tapu Lele into DrampaGX. He attacks with Berserk, dealing 180 damage, taking the knockout, and drawing 2 prize cards. Colin promotes Pseudo-Budo and draws for turn. He plays Ultra Ball, discarding 2 cards, searching his deck and revealing Rayquaza EX, benching it. He attaches a double colorless energy to Rayquaza EX and a Float Stone to his active Pseudo-Budo. Colin benches a Rangaroo. He plays N, with both players shuffling their hand into their deck, Colin drawing 6 and Michael drawing 2. He plays Rescue Stretcher, returning Mega Rayquaza EX to his hand, immediately evolving Rayquaza EX thanks to the Delta Evolution Ancient trait, ending his turn. Michael draws for turn and attaches a Psychic Energy to his bench Tapu Lele. He attacks with Big Wheel GX, shuffling his hand into his deck and drawing 10 cards. Colin draws for turn and attaches a double colorless energy to Mega Rayquaza. He benches Shaman EX. He plays Versus Seeker, returning to his hand and playing N, with both players shuffling their hands into their deck and Colin drawing 6 cards, Michael drawing 2. He attacks with Emerald Break, dealing 180 damage, taking the knockout on Drampa, and drawing 2 prize cards. Michael promotes Garbodor and draws for turn. He retreats into Garbodor and attacks with Trashulance, dealing 140 damage. Colin draws for turn and attaches a Metal Energy to Magearna. He uses Emerald Break, taking the knockout and drawing a prize card. Michael promotes Garbodor and draws for turn. He attaches a double colorless energy to Tapu Lele and retreats into it. He attacks with Energy Drive, taking the knockout, and Michael wins the game. That was a close one. Michael's early game ability lock stopped Colin from churning through his deck, allowing Michael to chip away at his Pokemon in the early game. Colin almost managed to claw it back with multiple turns of hand disruption, but in the end, Michael was able to piece together the final knockout. Placing came down to resistance again, with Colin eking out the win with Mega Rayquaza. Thank you to everyone who participated in the event, and tune in next time for some RSPK action. This has been the Holland Scientist. Until next time.